Evo's here. Okay. So, same thing, different story. We got some more hands-on gameplay for people who were able to fly out and try the game. This one's gonna be from Subtractum. He also went out there. This is gonna be kind of like a 2-for-1. We're gonna get a look at a mercenary. Gonna get a look at a sorcerer. So 2-for-1 squish down. We don't need all of the I guess Act 1 fully like we did with DM. Let's get straight to the meat and potatoes. Meat, potatoes, and tomatoes. What else? Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? So this, I guess, is the beginning of making content for Path of Exile 2. Been kind of taking some time recently thinking about how I want to approach this, because I really want to do this right and in my own way. And it was under Exile 2 all the way from ExileCon, the most recent one. I don't know when that was, a year and a half ago. I've been to every
He tells his personal story, which, of course, go. I'll leave a link. Go watch the link of his personal story, which I understand. It's kind of you get like, I don't want to do this game, but then how do I approach making content for this game?
Be a perfect game. I think there's a lot of stuff that PoE 1 offers that this one is trying to diverge from, and I am going to try to call that out. Maybe not all that much in this video, but I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts and concerns. So yeah, anyway, long intro long. Let's just get right into it, and I'll start talking about what my thoughts are as I go through the playtest. What I'm gonna be doing in this video is talking over some parts, kind of pausing it, pointing some things out, and then kind of just letting the gameplay play. Like, I'll take the camera off the screen, let the gameplay play for a couple minutes. I have Sorc, Warrior, Ranger, Witch, Mercenary, and Monk. These are the classes that are default play again. So the character works, and I just want to give it a shot. And in fact, we're going to try to save some time here. Everyone's seen that animation. We're not going to let that play again. So the first skill that you get is the fragmentation rounds. It's just a default.
This is the class that I'm interested in. However, I have a very strong, and I know they showed a scene of you walking looking like you have an assault rifle. Let me tell you from personal experience. I can already tell this class is probably going to have one of the roughest, slowest starts that is possible, because they're not going to start you off with an assault rifle. They're going to start you off tooch, tooch, tooch.
Default shot. Let it play a little bit here. This is my first time playing. This is your AoE skill that you kind of start with. So you get a basic shot.
Well, it looks strong.
Is right there, my basic bolt. The big thing about the Mercenary is he has multiple skills that have ammo, and they all have their individual magazines that you have to switch between them and reload them. I'm sure there's plenty of ways, and I know on the passive tree, we have seen that there are ways to save bullets when you're shooting.
Yep.
Maybe the big thing that I would like, I don't know if that's in the game already, is the ability, you can see that the aim is a little, the name locking with the aiming is a little awkward. The thing that I noticed, and
I'm not so. That might be something that's baked in, because I do know with the Ranger, you have a chance to shoot a bow and miss. You actually have to try to increase your accuracy. So little things like that, I think that might be built in.
I'll talk about one of the cons already with the Mercenary for me was I had to switch between things and reload, and with that reload time, when you're fighting a certain set of monsters, right? You're one pack of monsters. You can empty both magazines, but then the time to switch between them and then reload, you're not gonna be switching between it, at least early on. I've seen the more advanced gameplay later where they can kind of reload each other and all that, but at least early on, a big pain point for me was, in every
I'm not surprised. I had a feeling this class is going to struggle early game.
Switch to the other one, and then you're just going to stick to your one, right? Because switching between them, waiting for the reload again, switching back, that's just very inefficient. But this is the gameplay. He walks around and shoots. You get your fragmentation rounds. That is your AoE. I did find the AoE, at least early on, not very effective. It has a little bit of a built-in pierce there.
No.
I skipped that, so I killed him. I didn't get any loot from him. The key here is I want to show you guys show you guys the early experience with the Mercenary, and maybe this will get tweaked a little bit by the time that December 6th happens. And I kind of push it a little bit irresponsibly here. I purposely
I
bring a
don't
lot
know
of
if that
monsters.
class
My,
can
one of my
clear
favorite
all of
things
that.
in RPGs, you know, I'm a OG World of Warcraft mage type of player.
Yeah.
Pick up a bunch of monsters and then, you know, cast Blizzard
Nope.
or whatever and blow everything up. And then you can see kind of also I did get a cold skill right here, so I got a cold shot. I'm trying to freeze them, trying to like shatter them,
No.
do some AOE, and
Okay, this class
what
is
I
not
noticed
is
here
at least early
with,
game. I'm not
with the
sure
experiences with these early
what he
skills,
has,
at least what you're
but I
going to
can tell you
experience.
this class is not a because he don't have that
Yeah, like I said,
grenade thing.
I'm not trying to
This does
let
not look like
things
this
that
is a
are
room clearer type
demonstrate
class.
things how they aren't. Don't worry, there's
At
a lot of
early
details
game,
in this
definitely
video
not.
a little bit later on. So anyway, that's the pack of monsters there, and then the first boss that you fight here is the Devourer. It's within these the tunnels. And you can kind of see the experience reloading your different magazines over and over again and switching between them. So that was like a couple minute time skip, and you can see he's not dead yet. This is literally what I did. I was just like, this ain't for me. I'm out. So I did see gameplay.
The other guy struggled with. Sorry, other guy. So, DM struggled with this boss. There are few bosses you are going to be able to nuke, even though I'm already predicting anybody who's interested in Mercenary, you're going to have a rough. You're going to have a rough early game. Early game, I'm predicting Mercenary. If they keep most of the Ranger, which I'm thinking this is the Ranger right here for sure. If they keep most of her stuff intact, I'm looking at it, Warrior, Sorc, Witch, Mercenary, Ranger. I think did they split up? Monk. Okay. So I think melee damage is just gonna have a slower start than magic. Now normally when that happens, magic does get caught up to in the end, but I just think specifically the mercenary, his gameplay is probably gonna be kind of slow and brutal at the beginning because of that pop, that pause pop, then you gotta reload thing. Yeah.
Of both Havoc and MP playing the Mercenary later on. They stuck to it and they found combinations of it. And Big Ducks too. All three of them played Mercenary, and they all had a good time with it. But you know, that's just what.
See, just gotta stick to it. That early game's gonna be rough.
What you're going to experience. Anyway, Sorc. I'm like I said, I'm a mage, Sorc, wizard, whatever you want to do. You know, elemental, temporal magic. That's my thing. Arcane magic. It's always my favorite class in every game.
So he switched to the sword.
Oh yeah, wait for this one. Anyway, the first time that I played Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon, Sorc was so poorly balanced and so underpowered. Actually, at least the first and second, if not third time, Sorc always felt really bad. And that was basically my metric for, am I going to like this game? Like, can they do a magic caster properly? Well, this happened. Right off the beach, the very first boss that I killed gave me a +2 level of cold spell skill gems, 47% increased cold damage, and level 2 freezing shards right here.
How did you get this at the start?
The difference between the Mercenary and this. Now,
no, the difference is you got a blue weapon after you hit the beach. And so if you're going frost, this
concern that I have is the reliance on gear here, because I can't actually attribute how strong I felt in this playtest versus the last one on Sorc. I can't separate it too much because I didn't have this crazy gear when I was doing the previous playtest. But I can tell you, if you get good gear, at least on a Sorc, if you get a good staff, things will feel
Sorc is gear dependent.
Really good. So yeah, this is just watch his life bar.
Bruh. This is the Devourer. What is this? Come on.
Did a little spin of joy.
And he got
on there. And yeah, that's just with that starting staff. That is the difference.
I'm calling hacks.
When that happened and I saw how strong I was just like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm kind of seeing it here. And this is the next boss in the next zone too.
Like he's building Frost now.
Just to confirm that it wasn't a fluke.
This is crazy.
Just wait for the shatter. Yeah, so I was very excited. I was very encouraged. I want to call just special attention just how much detail there is to like the physics effects of all the shattering.
So they nerfed it. It was too weak. Then they overbuffed it apparently.
Just the freezing shards going through the flame wall, seeing them lit up and all that, igniting the monsters. The effects are like almost a little too subtle, but it adds a lot of style to it. And I think it's really nice instead of like the Path of Exile 1, like insane flashiness. So yeah, they added a lot of new support gems, and I think that this is really going to be what differentiates Path of Exile 2. As the thing about support gems in Path of Exile 1 is they very often trend, or are picked at least, towards the more, what gives me more damage, right? Like we have some that are a little bit more utility focused. You can do something like Fortify, where you kind of have like a hybrid offense and defense.
Yep.
Or you have something like Inspiration, where maybe you're kind of mitigating some mana cost. There are some like interesting upsides in addition to damage, but a lot of the time you're just saying, how do I take the highest damage support gems that I can while not taking too many downsides or getting as much, a little side utility in addition to that. That's what we see a lot of the time in Path of Exile 1. And kind of a cool thing, actually not kind of a cool thing, I think one of the most interesting things about Path of Exile 2, and we're going to see how this plays out, is the forced single support gem. So, for example, faster casting right here. If I take a faster casting, I can only have one of those on one of my skills.
So it's kind of like what was it? Diablo 3. If I'm hearing this correct, you can only have one out of each row, or you can only have this on one gem. Let me. I think he's saying like if I choose faster cast, if you choose faster casting, that's it for this row. As far as what can go on Flame Wall out of this row, because look, there's 3 lines. So maybe level 1 you could choose faster casting, then the next level you choose. The next level you choose coming soon, and then the next level you choose be there tomorrow. So yeah.
And because of this, I have to be very intentional in what I use that for. I really don't think it's going to feel like Generator Spinner. It's not going to be like a Diablo 4 snooze fest.
Diablo burn. And it's not, I'm honest, people, anybody who's Diablo fans, don't feel like it's like they're trying to push Diablo down to big this up. But the whole thing of having a resource spender and several, you got to have a move, sometimes 2 moves, depending on what it takes, just to build it up, to have this big payoff of dumping it. That style was just, it wasn't liked. It's still not liked. I don't know what caused them to go, because you're fixed. You could be going through something with a boss, but I got to keep spamming this move to build up the resource just to fill it out, then to dump it. Yeah, and Path of Exile 1 didn't play that way. Most times when you had full mana, and whatever move you use would take the mana, and the mana would fill up. If you got mana leech or mana on kill, or however other way it would fill up outside the normal, it builds up over time. Like that resource spending thing just made fights boring. You didn't really have a choice. Oh, I'm out now. I'm back to the same rotation, and it just was. Yeah.
It's not generator spender, it's utility, single target, multi-target, utility mobility. And that's like the way that you want to think about it. So I end up using quite a few different skills in my damage rotation. It's going to be more about evaluating the threat and the positioning and the way that everything's happening. And that's how I'm going to be using my different skills dynamically in combat. And for example, Fortress right here. This is one of the cool support gems that it actually makes your flame wall summon, or anything else like ice wall as well, summon in a circle. So you can use this to encircle enemies, encircle yourself, encircle an ally, and then like we'll
Oh
see this
wow.
later on when I'm playing with MP. I am putting this around the monsters, and then MP is shooting as a mercenary through my flame wall and then boosting his shots.
Oh. Oh. What? You know what's funny is I never equated the two because okay, I saw the trailer of the gameplay, and she put down the firewall and shot the lightning through it, and it picked up the lightning. I'd have never thought if you're co-oping, I could put down a firewall, and the person I'm playing with, if they shoot bolts, or if they shoot arrows or something, throw something through it, it picks up. Oh wow.
And there's a lot of interesting additional utility that you can get here through these support gems, instead of just, oh, I'm going to put elemental focus and control destruction on every single skill gem. Just to, even if you're using multiple damaging skills, you'd end up using, you'd use similar support gems. Instead, you have to be very intentional and thoughtful about how you're picking your support gems for your different utility skills. And at least the way that this played
Wow.
out, until like I've
This
only
is
gotten
crazy.
to the end of Act 2 so
How
far
much you see how much
in the
thought they put
playtest.
into this? It's
But the way that
insane.
it's played out, at least in this playtest, was I had a lot of fun playing around with the different support gems. As always, how it works out in an end game, we'll see. Really, really cool thing. So freeze in this game is incredibly, again, everything through the context of only playing through the first 2 acts, but freeze in this game is incredibly powerful, as you've already seen. It works on bosses. You can build up freeze on them, and then there's a lot of stuff building around shattering frozen monsters. Just having something to freeze monsters. It doesn't have to be like a builder, right? It's not resource generation, because mana honestly was basically never an issue for me.
Yeah.
That was not a problem whatsoever. It's really just about what utility am I trying to navigate or utilize as I'm doing.
Make no mistake, there are some builds where they will completely nuke your mana. Him doing a frost build. I think something with frost is where frost generally doesn't is like in gaming, it just does not, it's so mana efficient. I have no idea why. But there are builds. There's always builds where it's going to nuke your mana. You have builds where you can make it to where your mana takes a hit and not you. You can have builds that will half your mana. You have builds where it will completely get rid of your mana. Like the choices you have, the options you have are insane.
Doing some combat. Things like glaciation right here were actually very interesting. So this one's really cool. Hey, free chilled ground whenever you freeze an enemy. So, again, additional utility that you can put between your different skills, like drop a frost bomb and have that doing some additional utility right here. That's unique that I got. When you block an enemy, you permanently intimidate them.
What?
Not for my build. This is just showing me selling some different things. I'm just trying out, like, hey, what do I sell? What, demonstrating what I get for different currency for the disenchanting. And I'm not control clicking there just because I'm like trying to feel things out slowly one by one. All right, so I did not mouse over all of these. You can see the scroll bar. There are a lot of support gems and a
Look at this. Bleed chance, bloodlust, break endurance, add lightning damage, ammo conservation, bursting plague, break endurance. What if you break somebody's endurance? I believe it might have a chance like to half half their I forgot what endurance was in this game. Because I had a build that was made off increasing my endurance. And concentrate effect. So I guess if you have like a poison build or a lightning build, It will increase the damage. They go corrosion for poison. And this is all for you to play around with. Once you get it, of course. Like I said, you're only as limited as your to what you're gonna do as your mind will allow you to be.
Good chunk of these say coming soon as well. There are so many. There's going to be a lot of differentiation and potential for, one of my favorite things in Path of Exile 1 has always been customize your build for yourself. Like, hey, people ask me, hey, should I use Steel Skin on automation or cast some damage taken? Even little things like that, you can customize them in a way that fits your playstyle. All right, like if you're in hardcore and you got to play really intentionally and slowly around your cooldowns, cast some damage taken, or even manually casting it is the play. If you're in softcore and you're running a billion miles an hour, automation for your Steel Skin could be fine. Like it's not a bad choice, but it could be fine. And I think that type of decision making, and like there's a lot of conversation about like, from the hardcore solo self-found racing perspective, like this is always the right play. But there are, inefficient methods of play that could be, turn your brain off even more and you get your Netflix on. And I think that you can customize your builds in Path of Exile 2. They're giving you more tools to do
Yep.
this. This is a new skill called Ember Fusillade. Unfortunately, I was with my gearing, I was like
frost
into cold skills,
mm-hmm.
but I kind of wish I went into fire because some of these fire skills they're beautiful and really cool.
What is this? Wow. Okay.
But as you can see,
on this up, you put the firewall
on. Just so strong. But oh my god, the animation is just like walking around and self-casting Ice Nova. You're gonna see a lot of that. It just ended up being the strongest tool, unfortunately, for me a lot of the time. Here's another boss.
That's crazy.
This is about halfway through Act 1. But yeah, like the I don't know. This is clearly a fidelity upgrade, a huge fidelity upgrade over Path of Exile 1. Freeze is so strong.
This is just...
So you can see in the upper left corner, building up the freeze. See those debuffs right there. We also now have...
Hey,
go back a little bit. You can see the damage numbers up here. You can see their weaknesses and strengths right here. Debuffs, and then damage numbers, just like Dark Souls. Which is pretty cool.
Maybe I should be a sorcerer. I don't know. Apparently, I don't know. This is like they might have overcompensated. Which tend to happen if something's too weak, you make it super strong and then you work your way down. But sheesh.
Here's me kind of mousing over a couple things in the passive tree. Didn't see anything crazy. I didn't explore everything in the passive tree. I didn't have a ton of time. I wanted to I was balancing playing the game, chatting with Octavian and Jonathan, chatting with the other streamers, and God, I wish I could have played more. I could have explored more, but I wanted to do a little bit of everything while I was there. Yeah, this one is really cool. Frozen Vortex. When you shatter an enemy, 30% of the overkill damage is done per second. It lasts 3 seconds, so you basically get 90% of the overkill damage that you do as damage over 3 seconds.
What?
Total, which is pretty cool. I don't think I was doing that much. So the cool thing with Cold Snap, rather. So Cold Snap is a skill that shatters. So kind of like the rotation that you can do here is... I end at Frostbolt, so you can do Ice Nova. You can cast your Ice Nova on Frostbolt by default. I just found my Frostbolt was going too fast, casting too many skills, that got a little bit too much. But what I ended up doing was dropping Frostbomb when necessary, casting Ice Nova, freezing, and then Cold Snap will shatter a frozen enemy for damage. And then you can link that with Frozen Vortex, so that shatter overkill damage will then put a nice strong vortex on the ground. Ended up being a pretty cool combo. Unleash is about the same as it was in PoE 1.
Maybe I gotta go
This is
get my
demonstrate a little bit
Northern
more.
Mage. I don't
So,
know.
Frost Bomb on the ground, casting Ice Nova, and then Cold Snap to shatter them. And showing how dangerous zones can be really quickly. You can start getting stunned. You do have to be pretty intentional about
Your most.
just charging forward.
Yeah, you ain't gonna run through all of it. Nah, just pull everything.
Here we go. Here's Veracaf, aka Candlemass, I guess. Same monster from PoE 1 with a different name. So as you can see, my damage is not as much. I believe I still have the same staff from the beach. So with all that said, it's just that same staff, no additional damage items or anything. And this is probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through Act 1. I think this is almost the last zone.
Seem like it's starting to catch up to him. As I said, like sometimes with certain times, like I feel like overall the Sorc is gonna have an easier time.
So I didn't want to like go. This boss fight takes a little bit. This is the final boss of Act 1. Got an Exalted Orb. Show the new item that I got. I finally did upgrade my staff.
And the flask.
5 freezing shards. I actually I edited this. I spent a lot of time, like a solid 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes, trying to compare the damage numbers between all my different skills. So the interesting thing here is I lose the +2 cold skill gems, and I gain level 5 freezing shards as well as some freeze buildup, which is nice. I actually end up taking this. But you can see you have your DPS numbers right here, which are... So I was originally looking down in the lower right corner in PoE 1. But
that might not be ultra.
I hope they build these out a little bit. I think they're trying to simplify it. But when you mouse over your skills in the lower right corner, it shows nothing. It just says the name. There's no data whatsoever. I think they want everything to kind of be in the skill gems, like kind of kept over in the corner here in the skill gems panel. And there's a rough DPS estimate, again, because you're comboing so many things.
It's not going to be an accurate number.
But you can see these DPS numbers changing as I'm changing my weapons around.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep trying to mouse over here to like see if anything changes, but it actually, the tooltip doesn't change when you change your items.
Oh yeah, if you're completely new to Path, your mana and life flask can actually be enchanted. They can actually have effects on them as well. Like that one said, Flask of Woe. You might have ones that double amount of health you gain, or also you have a mana flask that might increase your buffs or increase your casting speed. Like, yeah. So even looking at mana flasks, you gotta think about if what you have available to you, which one you want to run. They might be the same size, as far as whether it's a greater mana flask or not. But what's the buffs on it? Some buffs and like I said, increase your health. A lot of things to consider. A lot of freedom.
Just the base gem tooltip. So here's, I believe, the first boss fight in Act 2. There's my Frostbolts flying in, trying to clear some of the ads.
Oh yeah, it caught up. It caught up.
This fight ends up taking a while.
Either they have ice resistance, or they caught up to your damage.
At least for the Sorceress gameplay, there wasn't that much I can do. If we think about the tools that I have, and I went into all of the cast speed that I could. I had faster casting. I took all of the cast speed nodes on the passive tree. If any gear gave me any cast speed.
Oh yeah,
so
they
the with this
really
is if you go above this line up here, there's a bunch of hyenas standing on a cliff that will just shoot arrows at you. So you're stuck in this little triangular arena. You really can't go up here. And periodically, the boss will just, if you walk away from him, he'll do multiple slams. He'll do a charge attack at you. Like his scariest, I guess I'm spoiling the boss fight sorry, so spoilers if you don't want to know how this boss fight works. At the beginning of Act 2. But if you
I
get
don't
too
remember.
far away from him, he'll do a charge attack at you, or he'll do really big slams.
So he's forcing you to stick next to him.
I don't have any tools that give me very good damage at range. Like I can cast Frostbolt with the Ice Nova and
Yeah, I don't
Frostbolt,
think
but
that would
it's not like
really.
PoE1. You know, later on, maybe if I get Unleash and Spell Echo or whatever, like maybe I can make this work. But if you cast one Frostbolt and then maybe I can get 2 Ice Novas and then 1 Frostbolt and 2 Ice Novas, I'd rather just cast 3 Ice Novas, right? Or even like 3.5, because the Frostbolt had a slow cast speed. Because of that cadence, it was actually way better for me to just stay close to him. Thing
Yeah,
is, the way the fight works is I can't walk up here, like I said, and if I
you
walk away
can't get
from
any
him, he'll
distance.
do like really scary range stuff, and I'm kind of stuck in slow cast animations. And it's actually easier to just, you know, roll around him when you're really close. Also, he periodically spawns ads, and because the ads are not nonstop but pretty frequent, I'm forced to almost nonstop just spam my Ice Nova. And this was a little bit of a concern. Like 100% could be builder skill issue, but
I don't think it's
you know, I
build a
kind of
skill
felt a
issue.
little pigeonholed into just I didn't hate it, but I guess I cut this out because I didn't want to spoil the whole fight. But yeah, that's basically what the fight was. I just
I'm
wanted
not
to point
surprised.
that out. Conk effect. Oh yeah, this is I got.
I think at that point, him going complete ice and him realizing what the fight is, one way or another, you're going to get a boss fight where you're going to have to just sit there in it. Like you saw, he bounced out of the Merc fight because that fight took too long, and he ran into a boss where, even with how strong he's building this, he still had to deal with it and beat it down. So, like there's normally 3 tracks. You have some classes, as we said earlier, struggle early game. You have some who struggle mid game. Then you have some who come alive late game. You have some where they only come alive late game. So maybe his builds, just his build, pure ice, is easy early game. He's in Act 2. There's 3 acts, so depending on where he is in Act 2, he's probably in the middle of the story. I wouldn't say mid game, but his build is starting to hit a struggle point. Maybe it could continue to get stronger and be stronger in Act 3. Or, yeah.
Orb, which is just a cool. It just you put a fire
That's
orb
just
on
how
the
these
ground.
games
It's
work.
very pretty and it does burning damage. Just kind of mousing over some of the support gems here. You can see a couple more support gems that we haven't seen yet.
More duration. So duration would decrease how long the effects
for anyone
linger.
That wants to comb through the video and just see everything I mouse over, go for it. So I'm going to let the rest of this play out. You can just watch some of the gameplay here as I finish up playing with Empy. Thanks for everything over the past
Okay,
few
so
years.
this is
really cool going through all of the
this is
discoveries and sharing cool stuff with
2v2.
you guys
I
with
mean
PoE1.
co-op. And of course, the more people play, they're gonna just buff the damage and the health of the other enemies. I don't see. Oh, I see. So, of course, this game it can be co-op. So, those who if you got friends you play with, loved ones you play with, I know people who have significant others they play with. Feel free to knock it out. Have fun. I was trying to see if I could see the bolts with fire. That's the reason why I'm really still watching this. But I don't think we're going to see that. Nah, this would sound like a boss fight. It is. It's our arsonist. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna stop it. Where? Oh. You know what? We could let it watch out. It's only a minute or two. So yeah, he puts the spot. So then that ring makes it to where any shots that he he gives the boss. It takes the flame element. Not a hard boss. He seems to have an overshield. Overshield is something that you can do. Because I also had an overshield build. Oh no! Wow. Why? I'm gonna take you with me. She said, "For the family, dude." Just, oh, that's so cheap. Can he res you? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna leave it here. Oh man. Oh, fada, dude. So that's I'm gonna see if I can find some more. I wanna see if we can find some who's not covered. Witch. Do we can find somebody who played the witch at the at the at Exile Con. I'm gonna see if we can find somebody who played the monk. But that's the sorceress and mercenary gameplay. Let me know if you plan on changing sides. Did this make you want to play a Sorc? Did this make you want to play a mercenary? Or are you gonna stick with what you had planned the whole time? Like, comment, subscribe, leave your comments down below. I do read your comments, guys. I do when they left. I read anything that's sent to me, any messages sent to me. So again, this is Revos, and I'm out.